Hello there, you fine specimens of humanity. Excuse me the noise, but I am on vacation, and so the workshop has its doors open, so the noise from the freeway nearby might be a little bit annoying, but I want the daylight. Anyhow, welcome to another installment of a rambling video, which is actually a vlog about something I found interesting, but isn't really relevant to the name of the channel really, although maybe it is. Anyhow, so rambling incoming in 1, 2, 3. I never had really problems with tires when it comes to mountain biking because, well, I have this incredible smooth skills, and for the latter part of the last decade I've been really much a coward. I mean, I would ride down at a moderate speed, and if whenever some sort of a technical terrain feature would come up, I would simply waltz around it or simply walk it. However, as the weight of existence is weighing upon my soul, I found myself, as I get older, giving much less of a fuss about my, molecular integrity. So, I've been riding stuff faster and faster and faster for the last few months. And the breaking point came about August last year, when I was riding a trail which I just found. I really liked it, so I pushed myself, and I found myself in an awkward situation of catching a snake bite. You know, those are two holes which happen if you smash the tire against a tire feature. Obviously, I was riding tubes. Smash a tire against the trail feature, which usually ends up in losing the air, and the tube becomes essentially very difficult to. Well, it's impossible to repair it on the trail. You have to go to a workshop and apply some pressure to both sides of the tube. Anyhow, I replaced the tube. I pumped it as much as I could, but however, this is a girthy mountain tire, and because I don't really want to be hauling heavy stuff with me, I was using a really teeny tiny pump. So as you can imagine, approximately 10 minutes later I caught another snake bite and another snake bite, and essentially after using my supply of patches I limped home and I walked the trail. And that was something that prompted me to finally, after 10 years or 20 years, after quite some time of riding trails, finally to go tubeless. And so I did. I bought the sealant, I made the wheels and whatnot. It worked. I rode the trail once again, and it was, well, pretty awesome really. However, that was last October I think, and then the cube went on a hook, and I was on a hook on the storage unit, and I was faffing about different bicycles and doing different things. However, yesterday I decided that, yesterday actually, and today is Monday, so that was Saturday. Anyhow, I decided to finally go to visit a trail center that's around an hour drive from me. And, well, somewhere around March or April, before this coronavirus thing came out, I decided that I'm going to add sealant to my tires, because after almost half a year of being on the hook, it probably dried out, and I wanted to be sure that I'm not going to get some sort of a flat, because I don't like interrupting my rides, as you can imagine. So I tried to do it. However, the tire I had before then, this thing, unfortunately unseated itself and didn't want to seal. Besides, it's a really light trail tire, as you can see. It doesn't have really aggressive tread. So I decided to finally buy a new tire for my rear, which is going to be a bit more, armored against whatever I'm going to find on the trail. Now, the second part of the story is that on a local equivalent of eBay, recently there's an outpour of a cheap Vee Tire or Vee Tire Corp tires, which on the spec sheet are pretty good. However, and this is the part when things get interesting. Now, I bought several of these. This is one of those, and I am actually quite happy with those. They provide precisely what they're supposed to provide, and I already wore, I think, 4 or 5 of them. No issues whatsoever. They essentially behave like you would expect from such a tire. However, I bought this Vee Tire Crown R tire, which is supposed to be super tacky compound, whatever that means. It's obviously meant for, well, I think it's visible here. Here you go. There's a visible for enduro, so obviously that's what I'm doing. This tire is a little bit heavier than the one it replaced, so it should be a little bit more, well, resistant to death, essentially. However, because of multiple of reasons, I never had an occasion to ride this. So yesterday was its premiere on the trail. Now, unfortunately, once I rode the trail up, it was fine. Then I rode down, which was a typical A-line, so you go right, left, right, right up. That was pretty good. And then I started to ride a pretty rowdy downhill trail, which exists on that particular bike park or trail center. And I rode down the 2/3 of the trail, and I got a puncture which the sealant wasn't able to seal. And if you see the aftermath of what happened, you will understand why not everything that's really cheap and is good on the spec sheet is actually good. Alright, here you see the tread. As I promised to you, you can notice that this is really a new tire because all the knobs here are pretty sharp. They weren't worn out by riding it. Now, take a look at this. Now, if you see how the tread comes along, you'll see that there's a knob missing here. Well, not much of an issue, but this might start to raise some concerns. Now, does it not? You can see how the knobs here were torn out of the tire, and you can see the casing behind it. So let's continue. You can see knob here, missing knob here, missing knob here, missing knob here, missing knob here. A hole, a splotch of sealant that leaked out of a valve. There's a valve here. Missing knob here, missing knob here. This one is going on its merry way. Missing knob here. And you can see what happened in this particular place. I mean, come on! What sort of, I don't know, catastrophe is this? Let's continue. Missing knob here, missing knob here. This one's going in its own merry way. Missing knob here, missing knob here, missing knob here, here, and here, and here, and here, and here. And this one I think is starting to tear off. No, this one it doesn't. But this one certainly does. And let's continue. Let's continue along the circumference here, and here, and once again. And as you can see, the entire thing is simply a moon landscape of missing knobs and torn everything. And there you go. This is what happened to me yesterday. So instead of spending a day in the trail center ripping down, I spent a day riding home on a, well, gravel bike essentially. Anyhow, I hope you'll find this entertaining. I'm now going to, well, warranty this tire because this is obviously broken, this is obviously bad and something's wrong with it, and I'm going to try to reinstall this thing because I'm not going to be buying new stuff just because the old stuff doesn't work. No, that doesn't sound very wise. Anyhow, I'm not going to buy new stuff just because the old stuff broke or the new stuff broke and I still have the old stuff that essentially works. Anyhow, I hope you found it entertaining and I hope to see you on the next one. Sealant everywhere. This is disgusting. I'm going, if it goes this way, I'm going to invent some sort of a way to make a reliable mountain tire that doesn't require sealant or tubes and you can smash it against everything, because I'm pretty fed up with this. Essentially, I had more trouble with broken or slashed or blown up tires ever since I started using the sealant and going tubeless than I had before with using tubes. That's ridiculous. Enough rant.